And today we will be talking about a thing called Blazor, the, well, not so new Microsoft framework to enable us .NET developers to do some front-end work without getting to know JavaScript. I'm Tomasz, currently working as a .NET engineer at Capgemini, and yeah, let's talk about Blazor. Our main goal would be to implement a kind of reusable READ component. As one can tell from looking at the path ahead of us, we will start with a component which Visual Studio would generate for us out of the box. We would create an initial markup for our READ components and keep working on it, adding new features on the way. The main goal would be to end up with a READ component that enables a user to click on the READ icons, not only fetching data for a readable product from the API, but also updating it with our selected rates, updating average rate along the way. But for the first couple of exercises, we will focus mainly on adding stuff to allow us to manually change the parameters for our component, like how many stars are there or which icon we would like to use. After this is done, we are going to replace the default input browser buttons with our own, allowing us to add some custom stylings for them. Eventually, we are going to use the same markup to add the third customizable parameter for our rate components, average rate. And after playing with that, we are going to replace our custom components, which we will keep using as a sort of edit form components, with those that Blazor provides. And as we have had done before, we would add some additional stylings for those inputs. We will also add some kind of validation for all of the given inputs, talking a little bit more about tools that Blazor provides to us if it comes to the validation. Finally, we are going to delete the entire for markup in favor of the data coming from the API. And based on that data, we will not only show the additional values for our components, but we will also provide an easy way to navigate from one component to another. As mentioned earlier, my goal here is to start sending the data to the API back and forth. So whenever we load a component for a given product, API will give us the data, and whenever we rate that product, the API will receive that data from us. And in the end, we would like to make our component able to receive a dynamic set of icons, like in this example, based on the actual rate each of them is representing. So the lowest rate value would equal to sad face, and the higher rate will be, the happier the face would become. Moving forward, we are going to implement all of the mentioned features by completing 12 exercises I have prepared in an example Blazor application. The application itself would be divided into 12 parts, and the goal of each of them would be to create the working component displayed on the right part of the screen for each demo. Each demo also will consist of a step-by-step list of what we're supposed to do to complete the exercise, matching our solution with the final solution presented for us for reference. Also, our progression will be tracked in the app, so let us go right to it. Okay, this is our main application. As I said earlier, it consists of 12 different tiles, each representing a single exercise. And as mentioned before, each of those are split into parts, one which is presenting the final outcome for the given exercise, and one we should aim to implement on the left, where the star component is. Each exercise also consists of an extendable blade on the left, which consists a list of steps for us to follow. Descriptions for those points should be enough to get the basic idea what we should do, but anyhow, to clear everything up, each of those points can also be expanded. Descriptions that can be found on those sub-blade panels basically is showing us how to do etc. things, including code snippets, real components, some additional remarks pointing to the official documentation in many places. For the most part, we actually won't use it right here, as besides the exact steps we would need to follow, it also consists of many more details about multiple Blazor functionality that is worth mentioning, or at least pointing out the resources for additional reading, but actually we are not going to need those functionalities, at least not all of them. So in general it is worth looking at those descriptions, but we will not spend time doing that. Actually, it's a very good place to start if you would like to do those exercises by yourself, and you can find the link to the GitHub repository in the description. With that being said, we finished the introductory module for Introduction to Blazor.